Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 176. So I was black here, and my opponent played e4, and I played d5, the center counter. So let's take a look at how this went down. I just want to say a preparatory word here. I'm playing, my opponent is named Cepheid, and I played him earlier. If you want to see another game against Cepheid where he actually did better. That's game number 126. I was white in that game, and it was Nimzo Indian, so interesting turn of events there. Check it out. In this game, he also played pretty well for quite a while here. So we're going down the usual line here. Knight f3 is not all that common. d4 is the most common response here, but it's not a bad move. Knight f3 is fine. And now just get the pawn back. And now d4. So it sort of transposes into that other line. And I usually play bishop g4 here. And my opponent played h3. And I had this position recently in a slow game, and I played bishop f5 in that game. Here I was experimenting with the move bishop h5. Can also take there. And my opponent played c4. Very logical response, kicking the knight. And much better than in the over-the-board game, or no, it wasn't over-the-board, but it was a slow game. My opponent played bishop to c4, and that's not as good, really. You want to get those pawns out there, grab space in the center. So white's playing this very well. Looks like the normal place for the knight is to go back to b6, but I went to f6. So let's go and take a look at this from the notation tab point of view. Bishop g4, h3, bishop h5, c4, yeah, knight f6. So already it looks like white's got a pretty big advantage according to the chess engine. So is it better to play the knight to b6? Well, the engine still likes for me to take. Second choice knight b6, third choice knight f6. It's not a huge difference. Okay. Sometimes can't always go by these rulings, these scores. Okay, bishop e3, e6. And queen b3. So get to a situation where there's more of a normal opening advantage here. Maybe there was some more precise move than queen b3, bishop e2, knight c3. No, it's just as the game goes on, the scores kind of normalize. Okay, queen c8, probably not the best. It says once again I should take on f3 and then play c5. Yeah, sometimes you just want to sack this pawn over here. It's not a great pawn. Not a pawn you have to worry about. Or could you just develop the knight? Knight c6, queen takes b7, knight b4. It's possible. And just give up the pawn and play it that way. Okay, so queen c8 holding on to the pawn. Not the best move. Bishop e2, bishop e7, castle, castle. So pretty logical moves, and white's retaining his edge here. Now knight bd2. Yep, it's white's turn. Knight bd2. Could have played knight c3, maybe a little more aggressively paced. And then b6. I really didn't like b6. It wanted me to play c5 right away. Well, I wanted to play c5. Okay, the score goes down after a while. What I was worried about is c5. Pawn takes c5. Bishop takes c5. Bishop takes, queen takes, and grabbing on b7. And yeah, so this is a decent position for white. I mean, white's a pawn up. Okay, so I didn't like that. So why is it only rated 0.3 here? What's different? Bishop takes? Oh, it says I shouldn't take. Well, that's an idea. So I could just, I didn't think of this. This is a nice point. So if I don't retake here in this position, I can just play knight bd7, for example, and round up the pawn with my knight and not have to give up a pawn. And he's not in a position to defend that pawn. So here, I'm sort of wasting time by playing the move b6. And it says that white can push on with g4. He plays rook a c1, logical move. Now c5. And now he pushes on with d5. So yeah, this is, I think, a good strategy, trying to grab more space and have this strong pawn. And this is gives him kind of an advantage. So I take, he takes, And then it says I should go immediately rook d8. Yeah, I was worried about the fact that my knight had never been developed. And we're getting into the game. Things are opening up in the center. Sometimes you get in trouble if you don't get your pieces out. But rook d8, a more precise move in this position, immediately putting pressure on the pawn. Okay, so I played knight bd7, and he went bishop f4. Good move. Top engine choice there. Rook e8. To give my bishop a flight square. I realized he can now push this pawn to e6, and I can't really stop it, or d6. So he went rook fe1, and I went bishop to g6, just getting this bishop to a safer location. And I was thinking of maybe bringing my knight to h5 here. So bishop c4 was played. Yeah, see, look at how the scores have gone up. So bishop g6 apparently was, yeah, so it's just white has been steadily building his advantage. He's got this strong passed pawn here. And my moves are just not the strongest moves, and he's playing quite well. So bishop to c4, yeah, lining up the queen and the bishop in a battery on the f7 square, and he's now threatening to push this pawn with tempo if this pawn weren't defended on f7, because it would be a double attack on the bishop on e7 and the pawn on f7. So. Knight h5. I continue with my plan of harassing his bishop. He plays bishop h2, and yeah, look at how the scores have gone up. So this is a winning advantage for white here. So we'll get to the point where he makes the mistake, and then we'll show how he could have won the game. Okay, h6, bishop h2, h6. Guess I didn't want his knight coming in here and ganging up on f7. Oh, and I wanted to create a flight square for my bishop if necessary. Knight h4 he played, going after the bishop. Yeah, so that was the mistake. So let's see how he could have won this. d6 immediately, pushing the bishop back. And where should I go, f8 or g5? I was one of the ideas with h6 was so I could play bishop g5. So let's try this. Knight takes, h takes. I mean, the thing is, this is such a huge advantage, and yet the material is exactly even. So you would think if I play out this line, I should find a point at which white is up in material. So knight f3, going after the pawn. b5, trying to distract the bishop. Why b5? Well, okay, the f7 pawn is pinned, so I can't defend. I can't defend on g5. How about if I played a move like queen here? You can just take, and then rook e1, queen back, and rook e7, invading on the 7th rank. Yeah, okay, so this is really strong. So it's not just about the pawn; it's about getting control of the e file. And this the pawn on e6 here is just cramping my position and my ability to maneuver and get my pieces into good position. So so I went wrong, I guess, going way back to earlier in the game with this move knight b to d7 when I could have played rook to d8 immediately. So that was my mistake. Okay, but my opponent's mistake was playing knight h4 here, a logical move going after the bishop, which is defending f7 and setting up this tactic on the bishop on e7, the double attack, but just leaves the knight hanging. And I don't normally upload games where there's just a simple hanging piece. That's a tactic that's a little too simple. I try to, I lose to tactics that are usually a little deeper than that. Although actually I have lost quite a few games where I just hang a piece. But I just don't usually upload them because they're just not as interesting. But in this case, I had played 2 games already and tried to record them, and one of them was pretty nice, a nice attacking game. And in both cases, the recording got botched, so we ended up with this game because the other games didn't come through. Okay, bishop takes h4, and now it's interesting. Even though he's dropped a whole piece, he still has a pretty strong position with this advanced pawn, and so the evaluation is 1 pawn in my favor, not 2 points, I guess it would be normally. Okay, but it's hard to maintain that. With that extra piece, I can gradually get my pieces back into shape. So he takes off my rook, gets his rook on the e file, which is good, and then bishop b5. Right. So right here, he should continue with this plan with b6, d6, a way to maintain the best chances for white. So definitely should not be giving up yet just because he dropped a piece. But d6, what can I play? It says I should give up a pawn here and play b5, try and distract these pieces away. b5, queen takes b5, or rook b8. Let's try that. I can't see giving up a pawn just yet. Queen a4. Is he putting pressure on this knight? Maybe he's going to put his bishop on b5 and try and get at it that way. So a6 to keep the bishop out of b5. And he could actually just grab this pawn now, but it says knight takes g5, h takes g5. Yeah, and queen takes a6. So I have to give up another pawn to kind of defuse his attack. And so he's got 2 pawns for the piece here, and he can play on, although black would still have the edge. Okay, so let's back up and look at the game. So he played bishop b5 immediately. I guess similar idea if he can get the queen to a4. It's just not quite as accurate. So I played knight d to f6. He played d6. And I went bishop f4. Yeah, so bishop f4 is a good move because it threatens to exchange off the bishop and win the pawn. So this taking is pretty much forced, and then my knight gets to a more active square. And he comes in with knight h4 again. This time it's possible. But I have time to pick up the pawn. Rook d1, queen e5, and then he lost on time at this point. But at this point I have a pretty strong advantage. So I think, let's see, where did it go from one pawn to... yeah, starting around here. So d6, it just was not an opportune time to play d6 because of the move bishop f4. And now my advantage is picking up. And after the trade, and knight h4. Yeah, so knight h4 also is not the most accurate move. He can try d7. Yeah, I was expecting d7. But you can still see that black has finally accumulated a winning advantage. And so the game ended here when he lost on time. So... anyway, there were some moments. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And check out that other game, number 126, if you want to see Cepheid playing a better game. Okay, see you guys later. Oh, leave any comments you have in the section below. Bye.